MONDAYYYY Monday. I'm your host, Fluff, and if you have a question, feel free to leave them on down below in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter. I'm doing a lot over on Twitter these days. I'm just liking the old dumpster fire, as it were. That's it. Why do you like such heavy strings? Why work so hard? Thank you, Sail Hayton, for your amazing question. The answer is really, it's my right hand, my strum hand. I hit real hard. I really dig in because I have bad technique or something, I don't know. But I always feel like I have to hit really hard to get the sound that I want. And then that is just compounded when I play live. When I play a live show and the adrenaline starts going, I am trying to murder the strings with my right hand. So therefore, in order to maintain tuning stability, I use really big strings. I thought I used fairly light strings for a long time. I guess not. Everyone who picks up my guitars are like, oh God, these are the biggest strings ever. I don't know. I like how they sound. My left hand can hang so far. As I get older, I always wonder like if I'm gonna have to, get lighter strings and just kind of calm down, but not so far. So far, I'm still in kill mode with the strings in general. Yeah. Do you suffer from imposter syndrome? Kevin, that's a great question. And to answer your question, yep, I sure do. I wrestle with imposter syndrome every single day of my life. And if for those of you who have never heard of imposter syndrome, it's this overbearing feeling of having thoughts like, I'm not worth it, or I'm not valid, or I shouldn't be where I am because maybe there's just been some mistake, or I don't know, it's hard to explain, but generally it's not feeling like you're good enough or you're not validated in doing or being able to do what you're doing, whatever you're doing. A lot of people in the office world or the business world have this when they get promoted and maybe they don't feel like they're deserving of being manager or anything like that. That's a very common thing that I saw when I worked at Boeing. But I have imposter syndrome all of the time. All of the time. Every day, I'm always like, this is a big joke. At some point, someone is gonna come out and go, you're actually, you're terrible. Your videos are terrible. Everyone stop watching them, and then everyone will stop watching me, which will be fine. Anyone can do what they want to do, but yeah, imposter syndrome is real. I fight it every day. I just learn to live with it. How does Dragged Under go about knowing what particular song structures you guys will be using? Or is there a standard album formula you guys follow? Kevin, again, with the solid question. Honestly, thinking back, like when we're in the studio writing stuff, we're gonna try everything. So we'll come up with the structure and then we'll kind of play it through instrumentally and think, oh, okay, we could arrange this, we can arrange that, or whatever. But that still doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way. If vocal tracking time comes and Tony's writing and he's really feeling like a part should go long, or there should be a drop chorus, or there should be, a drop and then they're part of the intro riff before going back into the verse or something like that, then that's when the final changes to the arrangement of the song will occur. So Tony, our vocalist, will really drive any final arrangement changes to any given song depending on how he's feeling, because ultimately things vocally need to make sense and everything is kind of a vehicle for the vocals to be delivered properly. So really we just try everything and see what we like best and then we go with that. In a guitar, what is more important to you, sound or feel? Ooh, good question. I think for me, feel. I can get anything sounding pretty decent, right? So we have lots of at our disposal as guitar players. We have pedals, we have amps, we have all sorts of things to sound how we want to sound, but none of those things will affect the feel of a guitar. So, where the rubber meets the road is where, is how comfortable your hands feel on the guitar. So yeah, for me, feel is most important. If it sounds bad, I'll get it to sound good. It just may take a while. It may take a lot of effort, but if it feels good, everything else kind of comes easily, for me at least. Do you use the top-down mixing method nowadays? Kevin, again with the third question. Fire questions, Kevin. Okay, so for those mix engineer audio nerds out there, top-down mixing is basically mixing into a pseudo bus chain on your two bus. So you have some EQ, you have some compressors going, you have processing that you are then making mix decisions with while that stuff is running. Traditionally speaking, you would make a mix and then process your master bus, your two bus, after the fact. And to answer your question, no, I don't really do top-down mixing anymore. I found that my decisions and my guitar tones were not as good when I would do top-down mixing, because with top-down mixing, you're hearing right out of the gate, you're hearing an affected signal. So if you're like, oh, that's too bright, and then you brighten up the guitars, well, if you take away that bus processing, chances are those guitars are way too dark to begin with as a guitar tone, as an example. So I don't really use top-down mixing. I use something like what Machine does, mixing engineer, Gene the Machine from Lamb of God. He mixed like the Sacrament record and the Ashes of the Wake record. He uses kind of like a master parallel inside outside kind of a method. That's kind of what I do. I bus everything like as I would, and then that goes to the two bus, and then on the two bus I have sends and I bleed in unaffected signals to the two bus, and then I process those. So I kind of do like a really stacked, complicated parallel. Yeah. But anyway, to answer your question, no, top-down mixing really isn't for me. And that does it for this FAQ Monday. If you have a question, feel free to leave them on down below, or go on over to Twitter and ask me there. I also, anywhere, smoke signals is fine. Texting me, whatever. With that, bluff out. If you liked the video you just watched, please consider subscribing. And if you want to further support me and what I do, consider using some of the affiliate links down below in the description of this video. Go on over to Sweetwater, buy yourself something, and help me out at the same time. It's a win-win for both of us.